Hello Varlets, today we are exploring a gun Psyker build, specifically how the newly buffed las guns work with the Psykers now. I will say that I'm pleasantly surprised at how effective this build is at making the Psyker an anti-shooter ranged menace. While its range power packs a decent punch, it's no slouch in melee either, having the capability of one-shotting auric level crushers with little trouble. So let's see how we put it together, starting with the weapon selection. The centerpiece of our loadout is the Mark 7 las gun. As I mentioned in my Cadian veteran build video and my las gun changes and review video, I really like the Mark 7 because it's a good balance of hitting hard enough, but also can turn the fire rate up if need be. If you want to use other marks, please go right ahead. This build will largely function the same either way. I also actually did some testing with the las pistol, and boy did that build surprise me. I'll share that build at a later time once I've done more testing with it. For now, let's move on with the weapon build. For perks, we're going to want a combination of Flak and Maniac. This gives us the best bonuses against the widest range of enemies in the game. Flak will mostly be for elites, while Maniac will be for rages and specials. As for blessings, we'll be taking Hit Hunter and Ghost. If you've watched my Cadian las gun veteran video, you'll notice that this build is exactly the same as that one there. I have tried different combinations of blessings on this build too, but for what we are turning our Psyker into, this is by far the best combination that we can put together. For our melee weapon, I'm taking the Deimos Force Sword. This will be our close range problem solver and is the primary way we are going to be dealing with crushers and maulers, as well as defend ourselves in melee against hordes. As you can see from the profile card I have on screen, I have 32% warp resistance and have not yet maxed out the weapon. This is intentional and is part of the strategy of the build. 32% was the lowest I could go while still maxing out my other important stats, but if you can get a lower roll without giving up offensive power, then do so. You'll want this to be as low as possible. For perks, we'll be going for Carapace and Elite damage. Together, this gives us a plus 35% damage bonus against crushers and maulers, letting us bring the pain down on them. For blessings, we'll take Uncanny Strike for the mega rending power and Shred for the incremental crit chance while we are brawling. The Deimos Force Sword has actually really good finesse multipliers, so we'll take more crit to take advantage of that. For Curios, I have my standard 2 toughness 1 health for a balance of survivability. Perk wise, I've got 3 combat regen, 2 toughness, 2 revive speed and 2 gunner resist. Combat regeneration is always good, especially for this build. We'll get an extra 10% toughness and the ability to pick up our allies a little quicker, which can make the difference. The gunner resist is there to act as a fallback in case things go wrong, giving us an extra second or two to react. This is most impactful in high havocs. With weapons and curios sorted, let's take a look at the Psyker build. Here is the full talent tree. This will take a little bit of explaining to see where and how everything is connected to form a cohesive build. For starters, we're taking warp expenditure to give us the sustainability to regain toughness while in melee. I have found that unless I'm out of position or have gone way too aggressive, range enemies with this build generally aren't a problem. Melee enemies sneaking up and stabbing you in the kidney, however, requires mending quickly. This also makes you a lot more resilient while brawling against hordes. This build will also be taking Brain Rupture and, more importantly, Kinetic Flayer. Ever since Fat Shark buffed up this node, it has been a staple in many builds by being a DPS upgrade. The nice thing about Kinetic Flayer is that it inherits the damage buffs from your weapons too, so perks that we have on like Flak and Maniac will increase the damage Kinetic Flayer inflicts upon these classes of enemies. Malefic Momentum is also an essential part of the build because it further improves the damage Kinetic Flayer can dish out by 25%. This also acts as a tiny buff for our Force Sword and las guns, since more often than not, Kinetic Flayer is going to get a kill. Warp Splitting works the same way as the veteran's Withering Fire by giving our las guns a little bit of cleave so that we can penetrate an extra Poxwalker or shooter, greatly improving our lethal efficiency. By Crack of Bone is here to give us the ability to pivot into a strong melee build if we have to, and lets us benefit from holding a longer Scryer's Gaze. We will be picking up the Cooldown Aura, which stacks with our Curios for a collective 22% cooldown reduction. This is going to be very important for the playstyle of the build. We'll also be taking Empathetic Evasion into 1 with the Warp. Our combat ability is going to be Scryer's Gaze. We'll pick up Precognition to further enhance our damage output, but we won't be taking Warp Unbound since we aren't going to be using Peril very much, if at all. Next, we'll take True Aim for the incremental guaranteed crit after scoring 5 weak spot hits. Kinetic Flayer activating also counts as a weak spot hit for this node. Warp Ghost is there to enable us to maintain high levels of peril without quelling too fast, and also gives a boost to our stamina and toughness replenishment for more survivability. Finally, we're taking the Disrupt Destiny keystone and picking up Cruel Fortune via Perfectionism. If you have a keen eye, you'll notice that I'm stacking Ghosts with Empathetic Evasion. Both these things work exactly the same. If you manage to activate them, they place you into a is-dodging state against all hit-scan ranged attacks, making you effectively immune to them. However, their activation conditions are different. Ghost requires weak spot hits, while Empathetic Evasion wants critical hits from either ranged or melee attacks. By having both of these present on a loadout that has plenty of crit chance thanks to Headhunter and the Psyker's innately high crit rate, we become very resilient against ranged enemies, almost as evasive as the Cadian Lasgun vet I shared last time. There is just one problem: suppression. Psykers do not get the same benefit of being totally suppression immune all the time like the veteran. If we get suppressed, we can't land our shots well, and if we can't land our shots, we can't get critical or weak spot hits, which makes us vulnerable against shooters and gunners. This is where Scryer's Gaze comes into the mix. One of the by the way buffs that Scryer's Gaze provides is suppression immunity for as long as the buff is active. This means that it is still actively building up peril. Ordinarily, Scryer's Gaze can last for 14 seconds on its own if you don't do anything. But if you get some kills here and there, you'll be able to extend its duration and therefore the suppression immunity for longer. What this means is that Scryer's Gaze is best used when you have to deal with gunner firing lines. Using it allows you to not wither against their fire and actually shoot back to activate Ghost or Empathetic Evasion. During your moment-to-moment gameplay, however, you can use your Forethought as a peril booster. My demos at 32% warp resistance causes me to build up 32% peril or so with each special activation. This translates into getting 6% more damage from Warp Rider, 32% cleave from warp splitting, and about 17% toughness damage resistance from one with the warp. Casting it more obviously builds up more buffs, and thanks to Warp Ghosts, you can maintain the peril build-up for a while before needing to recast it. The Forethought also interacts with Quietude. This is me taking a page from the Jedi Psyker build where the activation of your special attack generates enough peril to restore some toughness. In this case, it recovers about 12% toughness. You can then quell the peril that you just generated for another 12% toughness. This is sort of using your Forethought as a toughness regen stick in a way. If you have to engage in melee, whipping out your Forethought and activating Scryer's Gaze will turn you into a melee monster as you slice through most enemies with little difficulty. Even Crushers and Maulers will go down quickly to your heavy thrust attack combos. A reminder that this combo can be activated from either doing a light 1 into a heavy 2 or from a force push into a heavy 2. The force push and this attack can both knock down Crushers, making it an incredible crowd control tool as well. So that's it for this build, gameplay clips to follow right after. Thank you all for watching and I will see you in the next one. Varlets.